Welcome back. As we mentioned at the top of the hour, House lawmakers will have plenty on their plates when they return to Capitol Hill tomorrow. That includes a bill to send additional aid to Ukraine. That also includes aid for Israel and for our allies in the Indo-Pacific. But House Speaker Mike Johnson is also facing a revolt within his own party and a slim majority, and it's not clear how the speaker will proceed. I'm joined now by Congressman Adriano Espaillat, Democrat from New York and member of the House Appropriations and Budget Committees. He's also deputy chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Thank you so much, Congressman, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So House Speaker Johnson is meeting with members all week on Ukraine aid. I wonder, how do you think outside pressure from Republicans might affect his willingness to bring forward a bill that contains aid for Ukraine in particular?
I hope it doesn't impact him. I hope he keeps true to his word that he's going to be a voice of reason. We want to help Ukraine. The Ukraine conflict is not just about America. It's really about the European Union and its economy. It's about NATO. It's about the U.S. economies in many ways, because if you have a collapse or a meltdown of the European economy, it will impact the U.S. economy as well. But ultimately, it is about the human rights of Ukrainians to be able to exist. Their sovereignty is at stake. And I think that we should stand up and help them. And of course, the speaker plays a vital role in making sure that the help gets there. They're right now rationing bullets. Those soldiers are rationing bullets to stay alive. We should step up and help them. And of course, I'm hopeful that the MAGA extreme Republican wing of the party, of the Republican Party, will not prevail.
I also, Congressman, want to ask you about Israel. The recent strike that killed 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers has really highlighted divisions among your own party, Democrats, on U.S. military aid to Israel. Where do you stand on this issue? And in particular, do you believe that there should be conditions put on Israel to get more aid?
Look, I'm a strong supporter of Israel, will continue to be a supporter of Israel. I begin this debate by saying that the hostages are still there. Some of them are U.S. citizens. We want them back, but we also got to fight for peace. And this last incident where we saw the killing of 7 volunteers, and I know Jose Andres, he's someone that has shown up. He showed up in Puerto Rico during Maria. He shows up every time there's a calamity, a crisis, a human rights crisis, a crisis that impacts the quality of life of people anywhere in the world. He sort of doesn't distinguish one continent over the other. And to have this happen is horrible.
But
and
Congressman, do you think that there should be conditions? Do you think that there should be conditions?
There should be a code of conduct for any country that we give help to. Now, if you spoke, for example, about Iron Dome, which is something, a system that is used to preserve the lives of Israelis in Israel, we saw how that worked to benefit them, but there should be a code of conduct to protect human lives across the world, including in Gaza.
Now, you're saying a code of conduct, but specifically, would you vote for there to be conditions put on aid to Israel?
I would continue to support the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and his efforts to bring about peace to the Middle East. And I will continue to stand strong on his efforts to ensure that Netanyahu and his government understand that it is important to abide by human civility. Yes.
Yeah. And we've also, in the last few days here, in the last 5 days, we've seen Israel allow additional aid into Gaza, and we've seen Israel withdraw some troops from southern Gaza. Do you think that that's a direct result of President Biden's firmer tone with Benjamin Netanyahu?
I believe so, and I believe that that's the start for a good conversation. But there must be another component to that as well, and that is the hostages. And we saw grave mobilization in Israel just recently. Israeli citizens in the streets saying that they want those hostages back home, and that they must be front and center in any negotiations that is being conducted right now. The other component, I think, is that there's clearly Hamas is a horrible terrorist organization. And we have to, the world has to take a stand on this issue, because I think we cannot continue to move forward in peace, either in the Middle East or other parts of the world. We saw what happened even in Russia with organizations like Hamas under command.
Yeah. The Biden administration, I want to turn to another issue here, of course. The Biden administration announced an extension of work permits for certain categories of immigrants. You advocated last year for work permits for some groups of immigrants. Are you happy with the administration's progress on this issue? And do you wish the White House maybe even moved a little faster here?
Well, I think very often we get into an immigration debate that's very sophisticated and complicated, right? But a work permit is a simple concept, right? We're not even talking here about a pathway to citizenship or temporary protective status for that matter, or anything else. Some the other components of the immigration debate. A simple concept, a work permit, so someone could leave their house in peace, know that they're going to get back home and they're going to provide for their families. They're not going to be a load on government, and they will help the economy. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office just revealed that the immigration dynamic will help the economy by $1 trillion in the next 10 years. So immigration is still very much synonymous with good economics. And I think that we should look at it that way. And let's start just with a simple concept, a work permit.
Yeah. I also want to ask you about, because there's so much that Congress is going on and dealing with. If Speaker Johnson were to deal with a possible motion to vacate, would you vote to keep him in his job as a Democrat?
I will vote for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker. I think that he is someone that Speaker Johnson should have a conversation with. He seems to be a leader that brings everybody together, that even with folks that maybe have traditional differences with one issue or the other, somehow he's able to bring them together. So I will be casting my vote for Hakeem Jeffries.
I hear you. I hear you, Congressman. Thank you so much for joining us.